And then also we say another principle also we give. This principle is more in terms of getting these structures organized. You see, it is easy to organize the neighborhood structures. I used to ask in the seminars, how long will it take to get the entire world organized as neighborhood parliaments of about 30 or 40 families? And various answers come, then we say, in principle, only one day. Because it's not a big thing to get the neighborhood around. It doesn't take much time. You have to clap hands and get the people around. And then the whole world today is reachable at the click of a cell phone button. So close. So if the right people with the right access decide on it, it is only a one day's job to get the entire world organized as neighborhood forums. But what is really difficult is to make them sustain themselves, make them continue to have that we feeling, that collective ego, whereby they say, we belong here, it is our community, that kind of a warning up. I mean, how does that come about? Because it comes about when you give enough things to this community to do together. So when they have to do anything together, when there are activities to do together, they have to come together. They have to know who is inside, who is outside, who has what talents, what strengths, and so on. And then that community becomes more and more cohesive, and the collective ego becomes more and more reinforced. And when any community's collective ego gets adequately reinforced, nobody will be able to bypass that community. So what we suggest is, after starting the neighborhood forums, the self-help groups that you do, FC everywhere, make it neighborhood based. The credit activities, make it neighborhood based. And then marketing activities, make it neighborhood based. Health insurance activities, make it neighborhood based. Whatever you do, try to have somebody in the neighborhood to be responsible for that. See that neighborhood is kept constantly reinforced through activity demands. And then they remain strong. And so this way, suppose we have a world where the whole, mankind is organized as neighborhood forums, and then they each have their own cabinets at various levels, and they take responsibility for the respective areas, and they are well connected through multi-tier federations at various levels, and a top to bottom global network, are guided by these principles, principles of smallness of size, and then numerical uniformity, subsidiarity, recall scope, and what we call the last one, whereby we give get the communities to be interested with more and more activities. We call it convergence. Convergence is whatever you can do through these neighborhoods, do it through them. Automatically the base will become stronger, and when the base is stronger, the entire building of democracy will remain stronger. And then we just circulated this dream, and we normally ask these people, suppose this really happens. And we tell them, whenever a dream is presented, some people have the sickness. They think about the difficulties first. And when they keep thinking about the difficulties, their energy gets drained. And then they don't have any energy left with them to push the dream forward. But I tell them, for time being, suspend all your thinking regarding the difficulties. We shall tackle them later on. But think about the possibilities. Let the possibilities energize you. And when you are sufficiently energized, you will be able to face all the 1,000 difficulties that might come. Because one principle in management is, no solution is without its own problems. And so we'll have to see how to face the problems, but we should be convinced of the dream, absorbed by the dream. And then when we asked these people, what would be the world like? Suppose this comes about. And then they bring with a long list of answers. I mean, think of whatever evil you think the world is facing today, they say it will not exist. Corruption, wars, divisions, domination, they say will not exist. And whatever ideal you can think about for the new world, like equality, fraternity, justice, and everything, they say it will be realized. And then what will be that world like? They will say it will be like a paradise on earth. Some say it is the kingdom of God and various things. And so a better world is possible, and the solution is to give people an ongoing voice through this neighborhood-based multi-tier federation of talking forums or parliaments. So when we circulated this dream around through the internet, some people wrote back to ask me, have you heard about sociocracy? They asked. Till then, we did not hear about that. We had to go hunting for that. But we found, to our joy, this more or less a similar dream. They have 4 principles in sociocracy, main principles. First one is principle of small circles. Because this cannot work in a bigger forum. Because bigger forum is more or less what they call namke vasta, a namesake forum only. And then, so they insist on small circles like. And then they say the small circles have to be linked through a process what they call double linking. That means 2 people must represent whatever community you are linked to at every forum. Like, one forum to other if you have small circles. So that nothing is hidden like, and every voice is reflected in any relevant circles. And then third principle is what they call decision by consent. And this is against what we normally call democracy, which goes by what we say, the decision by majority. And then these people, sociocracy people would say, this democracy divides people. It is violent. Why violent? Because they to keep being in the majority, you will have to work the whole time to keep suppressing the minority. That is a violent thing. That's not a human thing. And then, so they say this majority-minority thing is not a healthy thing. Then what to do? Consensus, they say that's not a very practical thing to do. Because everybody has his own, priorities, his own background thinking, and his own options. And it will not be possible that we get everybody to have consensus on a choice. Then what could be the option? What they say is in terms of what, this person who developed this one as a system, he was an engineer. What he found in the engines or machines, he says, unless every part in a machine gives a kind of no objection signal to the other parts, then no machine will be able to function. So he says no objection could be the answer. He put it another way, another word that called consent. Consent is, it may not be my best choice, but I choose not to object to it. I give my consent to it because in the given situation, this is the only practical thing that is possible. So even if it is not my priority and preference, I say, okay, I give my consent, go ahead. So when everybody gives consent, everybody is committed to realizing the goal, committed to be in solidarity with others and working for the goals. And then comes the next one, sociocratic elections. That's a very interesting thing, sociocratic elections. Because what do you do? Suppose you have to elect a prime minister in a neighborhood parliament, say, for example. And then the election is conducted this way. The task is announced. So they say, we are going to choose a prime minister. Okay. Then they ask next question, what does this task involve to be a prime minister? What does it involve? And everybody has to give his or her opinion on what are the challenges involved, what are the roles and duties, what are the tasks, everything like that. And when everybody has finished speaking, the next question is asked. To shoulder this role, what type of a person do we need? And then everybody begins again sharing, saying he or she needs to have this and this attitudinal qualities, these and these competences, these and these experiences, these and these skills, and like that. Whatever they think the person should have, everybody speaks. Then the facilitator, what he does, he or she gives everybody a slip of paper and says, you put down your own name first. So everybody has to write one's own name. And then the facilitator says, underneath, you take 1 minute or so to think seriously, and then write the name of the person whom you would propose for this task. That task here being neighborhood prime minister. And then everybody writes. And then the slips are heaped under various names proposed. And the facilitator takes each slip and then asks each one, you so and so propose so and so, what are your reasons? And you so and so propose so and so, what are your reasons? So everybody has to give the reasonings behind their proposal. Then when everybody has spoken, and then the facilitator says, okay, first you thought so-and-so would be the best, individually thinking you thought so. But now you have listened to so many people's viewpoints, maybe you feel like changing your thinking. If so, you feel free to take your slip and put it for somebody else. But before you put for somebody else, you have to explain to the whole group why you are now changing. Because that will also guide others in making the decision. Then when everybody is given that chance, if they want to have, okay. And then the facilitator would say, it seems so and so is the person to be proposed. Anybody has any serious objection? And then the objection has to be serious, and they call, in their terminology, paramount and argued. That is serious objection given with reasonings. And then if it is given with reasonings, and if the reasoning points out to a serious objection, then even if one fellow objects, the whole group says there is a valid objection, then why not we consider somebody else? So this way, everybody tries to give a consent. And when and then if somebody is objected to, they look for somebody else. If there is no objection, the facilitator, come on, let us celebrate. We have a prime minister. And this process may appear a bit long, but what I have seen in experience takes time only the first time. Later on, people get used to it, they do things very fast. And then also another thing I found, not only the people who get elected, but also the people who are not elected get some or other affirmed, most of them. Because even if they are not elected, somebody must have pointed out to a good quality in that person. And this person says, oh, I have that quality, I never realized. Oh, very good thing. So he comes out, with more confidence and more courage, with more celebration of his own personality, more affirmation. And this is a healthy thing. So, if we really want to have a democracy that responds to people's needs, don't count on the present day big-sized basic constituencies, but work for a network, multi-tier federation of small-sized forums.